Hi everybody, it's Russ from My Hammers 11. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to be notified of any times we put up new videos. We've got loads of content coming up, loads of great guests, including today's guest, who, as a first for My Hammers 11, is the first non-UK person we're interviewing. The first transatlantic guest. How exciting. And in a weird sort of serendipitous way, I actually went to school with him as well. He's a member of the West Ham is Why We Drink podcast. It's Adam Frankel. Hi, Ad. How you doing, man?
Yeah, good, thanks. Sorry that disappoint people who thought I would speak with an American accent, but I haven't picked that up yet. It's been 7 years, but I don't intend to ever speak with that accent. So, no.
I think after a few years, if you haven't picked it up, you're never going to pick it up, isn't it? That's the way it works. I think those
I
things.
hope not. I mean, I find like this accent opens doors. You know,
Yes.
people, oh, where are you from? They all think I'm from Australia.
Yeah.
But you know,
I got that loads. I used to do loads of work in the States, and particularly on the East Coast. And yeah, they were always thinking I was Australian. And then I became even more Danny Diary of my sort of accent. What, mate? You know, really gave them more extra Cockney, you know, just to make sure that they don't know I wasn't Australian. But anyway, we're not talking about. Yeah, it just got even worse. It's like when you go on holiday, isn't it? When you try and talk to, you know, you say English words in a foreign accent, and it's the same. It's the reverse. You have to re-English yourself to the organisation.
It's true.
Anyway, Ad, thanks, and I appreciate you taking the time. We're interviewing obviously lots of people all over the world now. Now we're interviewing you, we can say we're all over the world, but all different ages about their sort of experience, memories of West Ham, but also more importantly, their Hammers 11. And so it's, you know, it's just getting all this stuff categorised and catalogued for prosperity. All these different stories are coming out, which is really, really nice. So in terms of you, Ad, you know, been a West Ham fan for a fair few years. What would you say would be sort of your earliest memories of West Ham?
For me, I think my earliest memory is probably my first match. I remember it was in '96. I'd always wanted to go. My dad doesn't like football, so my mum had to take me. And it was against Bolton Wanderers, Upton Park. We won 1-0 with Tony Cottee scoring the only goal. And so I remember for that game, I was just so just taking it all in. It was so new. It was so awesome. And I remember very little about the game.
Yeah.
You know, but I remember the hustle and bustle. I remember the chip shop on the corner. I was just more things about Upton Park itself than the actual game I watched. Apart from Tony Cottee, who scored, I couldn't tell you another player on the pitch.
Yeah.
I could guess, but I can't remember him.
No, I know. And as you said, it was more, yeah, it's the whole experience, isn't necessarily the 90 minutes of football. As you said, it's going down Green Street or going from Barking Road if you're going past Urcans on the corner, the fish and chip shop and the massive queue at Nathan's and stuff. No, exactly. And those are sort of the memories that obviously stay in your mind. Now, obviously, you know, that's sort of an early memory you've got. What would you say would be sort of your fondest memories supporting West Ham?
It's a good question. I mean, I got quite a few. I would say there's probably two that are right up there for me. My fondest, overall, I'd say is probably that my second ever game I went to. I went with my granddad. He was my role model in life, and it's the only time that I ever got to go to a game with him. And it was, I think it was 97, 98 season, and it was West Ham Tottenham. And because my granddad hadn't been for so many years, we had the tickets, we had no idea where we were going, and we ended up going in the wrong stand. So we were meant to be in the Centenary stand. We ended up in the Bobby Moore Lower with all of the season ticket holder nutters. It was an evening game. It was windy. It was crazy. You might remember it was the Hearts and Kitson game. So we beat Tottenham 4-3. It was an incredible match. I mean, it literally was like, you know, we went 1-0 up, 2-1 down. The goals were crazy because it was so windy. Like it was like some ridiculous goals. But like it was a really cool atmosphere, great goals. And you know, I got to share it with my granddad. So that's my top. But an honourable mention to the FA Cup final. You know, in 2006. And I think for me, the thing that made that so special was the atmosphere at the end of the game. You know, Gerrard talks about in his autobiography that he says, you know, I'm Liverpool through and through, but at the end of that game, the West Ham fans stayed till the end. We clapped Liverpool. They did the lap of honour, and he writes that usually the away section is empty. But he's like, all the West Ham fans stayed. And I remember leaving that game, and like, I've never left a football match where it was a intense game, crazy atmosphere, but at the end of it, everyone was so respectable to each other. And honestly, I think the Liverpool fans and West Ham fans at the end of that game all walked out with their hands in the air saying, you know what, West Ham probably deserved that, but damn, Steven Gerrard, what a player. I mean, he won the game for you, and they were like, he won the game for us. And so that special football moment of everyone together, that's a fond place in my heart, despite the fact we didn't win the game, and I haven't been able to bring myself to rewatch it since.
I know. It feels like I've been reliving it, talking to people, and because I'm where I was sat. I remember it's so well. I was where the penalties were, so I think, yeah, I was definitely where Marlon swung with his only 1 foot he had left, right in the last minute of time, because I was there, and I just, people still.
I was like, about. It was crazy. I was because there were 3 tiers, right, and I was in the front row of the middle tier, and so it was an incredible spot. And I actually remember nearly passing out because it was so intense. Like you said, when Marlon, it was just like, and he gave everything, but he literally had 1 leg.
Yeah.
It was, and you know, we were all just praying, screaming, shouting, jumping. It was insane.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It was one. You're right. It was one of those really intense. I think the only thing that could really match it was probably the playoff in 2012. Was that level of intensity, because it so much was riding on it for West Ham as well, in terms of, you know, getting back and being back in the Premier League and staying there enough for we moving on to the new stadium. It was like critical. We had like at least a couple of seasons there, but that's a good shout. That's a good shout. Right. Anyway, let's talk about happier times rather than losing the FA Cup final. Let's talk about your Hammers 11. Now, as I said, there's a few rules, a few parameters we like to keep. One being is we try and keep it to a 4-4-2, because although I am learning a bit more video editing, so I have been a bit more suggestive in terms of formations of people. The second one is you have to have been alive to see them play, which is crucial, I think, because otherwise everyone would pick the same 11. And the third one is it's your 11, Ad. So we can talk about whatever you want to talk about in terms of the types of players you want to talk about. I believe you've got a nice little theme you set up already. Do you want to introduce the theme? Go on, Ad.
Okay, so I know that there's one been already, so I'm going to try and mix mine up a little bit so that we can make it a bit different.
Sure.
But as you probably noticed from my memories, like, I'm more about, I love the atmosphere, I love being at the game, so I thought it would be fun for us to do a Hammers chant 11.
Love it.
Some of the favourite chants that I've sung watching the team play. And so some of the players absolutely would not get into any West Ham fans' top 11. Like, not a chance.
Yeah.
You know what? It means that we can hear some different players. We can maybe discuss about why there's no chance of them getting into most people's 11. But hey, at least they had good songs.
Sounds great. Love it, Ad. Right, okay. Who's going to go between the sticks for the chance 11 then?
Now, the obvious answer would be Ludek McCloskey, because he's got the best chant. But you had that before, so I thought I would give an honourable mention and a place in the sticks for Robert Green.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved, and I don't know how you want to do it with the chants. We should get the chants in, but I loved it that season when we all chanted England's number 6, England's
number 6. Yeah.
And you know, and he even put it on his gloves. Do you remember? He actually had it stitched into his gloves. Yeah. England's number 6. So, and I loved Robert Green. Yeah. I mean, he was always so down to earth, intelligent, and a really good player. I was gutted when he left us. So going to be my keeper.
Yeah, solid keeper. Didn't get enough credit for him in an England career, particularly as well, because of that. As soon as someone makes one mistake, that's it. They're buggered. But yeah, consistent, strong, reliable. If he was playing, you'd be happy. Very similar to, I think, how we think when Fabianski plays. When he doesn't play, there's a slight apprehension amongst the fans, and I think that's the same true when Greeno wasn't between the sticks. But as you said, and he loves trolling himself, doesn't he? So he's doing the whole Chelsea, Europa Cup win. Just because he was like, he played one game, love it.
Yeah, it's brilliant. You just like players like that, players that have got a bit of charisma, a bit of fun to them. Like they can just enjoy themselves and self-deprecate. Because a lot of players, they've got such an ego.
You're right, yeah.
For them to be able to self-deprecate. Not a lot of players have that talent.
No, I think he's even more so. I mean, I think it's stereotypical of English-based players that they're more likely to take the mickey out of themselves. Peter Crouch, people like that, and it's that era. Right. I mean, I think people are they're too sterile now. Footballers, they're so professional. They take so, and I think Twitter and Facebook and the YouTube era. There's so many trolls out there that they have to have a backbone. But actually, I think just like Peter Crouch is my I think he's brilliant, and the way he sort of knocks off trolls and stuff like that, and still self-deprecates himself is the way to go. And particularly for his podcast, he had Greeno on recently. I know he's done that, and he had Kasper Schmeichel and people like that because really good. Okay, we'll put Greeno in. Okay, Greeno's in the sticks. Who's going to go left back then, Ad?
Left back. Remember, it's a chant 11, so I'm going to get very current. The obvious answer is Arthur Masuaku.
The one who's better than Lukaku.
Exactly. So, I mean, should we take it in turns to sing the chants?
Yeah, go on then. You go for this one, Ad.
I did the last one, so I think this will display your voice. Go on, Russ.
Yeah.
People won't know that I was in a musical with you when we were kids. So
we were. I was the first one at school to get an A-star in drama as well at high school.
Well, there you go. Sing Arthur Masuaku's chant. Take it away.
Let me just have a drink. I wasn't prepared for this, but it doesn't matter. Do you know what? I'm really sad. I can't remember the tune. I know it's Arthur Masuaku who's better than Lukaku, but I can't remember the tune.
It's Earth, Wind and Fire. September is
Masuaku, better than Lukaku, never gives the ball away. There we go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, not having football for over 2 months now, it's weird. Things like that. I know the lyrics, but he just came out it doesn't matter. Anyway,
you know what? I'm probably going to do that with one of the other players as well. So I
don't care. It's not like I'm the match day DJ or anything, so it's fine.
Yeah, to be fair, you probably should know this.
But I know how to play. But it's fans. I don't play the fans. They chant. I'm in a little sterile box. Anyway, okay, we'll put Martha Asuaku left back. As you said, I think chance 11, very good going forward. I think he is. I like Mark.
Yeah.
Very exciting when he goes forward. Modern day sort of left back. He sort of goes forward rather than necessarily not really the defence, but the attacking. That's his job, I think.
And I think over the years we've had a lot of good players like that. Like Glenn Johnson. I like an attacking fullback. So
I agree.
He definitely, there are definitely way worse players than him in this 11.
Brilliant. All right, we'll put Arthur on the left. Who's going to go on the right back position then, Adam?
Now, this is controversial because I don't really have a right back here, so I've had to put a defensive midfielder in.
That's fine.
But the reality is, look at our managers. They've played Antonio everywhere, so I figured I can take some creative liberties as well.
Yeah.
So controversially put Alex Song at right back. And now, how censored should this be? Because there is a there is an F word in this chant.
Maybe we'll do a radio edit. I think that's probably the safest thing.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to confirm.
Yeah, no.
So Alex Song's chant is some of my friends in America, when they heard it's their favorite chant of all time.
Okay.
It goes, Big Fat Sam went to Spain in a Ford Fiesta, came back home with Alex Song, F off Iniesta. So there's Alex Song. And, you know, his first season with us, you might remember, he was outstanding.
He was, yeah.
I mean, I would go as far as say, as close to a world-class defensive midfielder as I ever seen. Then his contract and was like, done it now.
Happened quite a lot with us, isn't it? First season, or maybe on loan or whatever, and then the season contract, longer contract, then it sort of like eases off. But I agree, he was quality. I remember all the fanfare when he signed. You know, we actually kept it quiet because we went to announce it on the pitch just before that game, and I came in to find this. I was like, Alex Song, that's brilliant, and he was really good for us. I thought he was a very good player for us. Definitely. Right, okay, we'll put Alex Song, not Rigobert, on the on the right back position. Who are we going to get in the centre back positions, Nad?
So I know it was in the last chant 11, but I have to come in because it's probably one of the best West Ham chants of all time, which is Christian Daly.
Yeah.
Christian Daly, football genius, was in fact his first chant, I remember, but it very quickly became the classic that we know and love. Which do you want to take this one away, Russ?
Yeah, okay, I remember this one. Christian Daly, you are the love of my life. But Christian Daly, I'd like you have sexual intercourse with my wife. Christian Daly, I want curly hair too.
I mean, it sounds like you meant that. It sounds like you meant every word of that, Russ. Which
no.
I hope your missus isn't going to listen.
The current missus, no. She doesn't listen to this, but no, it's a brilliant chant, wasn't it? It was a brilliant chant, and he still gets it. He got it the other. This season he came back to London Stadium for an interview, and he still got it chanted at him. And his hair wasn't that curly now because it's a bit shorter. But yeah, no, I remember the sort of the massive speech he gave on the pitch after the Ipswich game, after the playoff semi-finals, and it was all like, we'll do them on the beaches. It was that type of speech, and I thought, God, he's a good player. He's a good player.
He really is. Great defender.
Yeah,
he's just great for the club all round. I mean, he's a fan favourite.
Yeah, exactly. And he always gets a good reception, and that shows you when you get players when they come back. He doesn't come back very often, but when he does, it's like everyone sort of appreciates that. Okay, who's going to partner Christian in defence then?
Now it's probably the weakest of my chants, but I wanted him in the team because I love him. He didn't get treated as well as I think he should have by the club, and that is the one and only Ginger Pele, James Haynes. And his chant really is just one Ginger Pele. There's only one Ginger Pele, and it's more of his nickname, the Ginger Pele, and more than anything because he's someone who, no matter what you do, if you play for West Ham and you wear your heart on your sleeve and your effort is 100%, you won't be forgiven for anything else. And, James Collins made plenty of mistakes in his time with West Ham, but I don't remember a single one of them. No. Because what I remember is the fact that he always gave 100%.
You're right. Yeah.
And I think that many fans were just so disappointed in the way that tenure had to end. And I know that there's hope that eventually there can be something done, that maybe a testimonial, who knows. But yeah, he was a great player for the club, and I love the guy. And
I think personally his strongest seasons were actually his last few seasons, to be honest, because he seemed to have this affection with the club and the fans, and he was never blessed with pace. But he had a football brain, and when he was on his game, particularly, I remember there's a couple of games that season where he was out of his skin, to be honest, where he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. And
another thing I remember about him as well, that same season when I think he was either injured or suspended, he went to an away trip and just went in the fans, sat in the stands with everybody else, the rest of the fans.
Yeah.
I can't remember many other. In fact, I'm trying to think. I can't remember a time where a West Ham player went and hung out with a West Ham away supporter at a game. Can you think of any?
No, I can think of some home ones because for big fan Jordan Hugel. He actually when QPR are not playing, he will be at the West Ham game, but he won't go in the corporates. He'll be buying a ticket himself. And yeah, I know what you mean. There's an affection with the fans. There's affection with West. I think Collins is one of those players who will always have some association with the club. Who knows what it'll be? You never know, do you? I mean, he could well come back as a coach. I know he's got his FA Academy school. He does. So who knows? Same as obviously Jack's over there where you are. Jack Collison's over there at Atlanta.
Yeah.
There's loads of boys around. So I think eventually some of them will come back into the fold. The academy you got Carlton Cole, Paul Konchesky. They're already in the academy set up, and I think that's the way that West Ham needs to work is work with the people who understand the club, because you're going to get a better rapport with the fans and the players, definitely. Right, okay. Anyway, let's go off my high horse. Okay, right. That's our back four. Who are we going to go in midfield? Who are we going to go left wing then, Ad?
So left, it's going to be my namesake, one of my favourite players. It's Joe Cole.
Yeah.
He, obviously for us, mainly played more in the centre, but when he was out on the left, that's when he got his England call-up,
Yes.
He played out there for England, so I think it's a good place to be. And obviously Colton had the same chant, but Joe's chant, Joey Cole.
Cole.
Always believe in your soul.
Ooh, yeah.
You got the power to know you're indestructible. Always believe it. Oh, brilliant.
Brilliant, wasn't it? Again, one of those. There's certain, and I think hopefully some of the other ones. There's certain points where I think a chant encapsulates a group, a period of time. So yes. Ludo was like that period when Ludo was in, Christian Day to that extent was that period. I think Joe was in that sort of golden period of West Ham, and probably someone you're going to talk about later on would be that period for him as well. So, I definitely. And he's a great player and a great guy and doing a lot of work for the NHS at the moment. So, a lot of charity work. So, good old Joe. Okay, right. Who's going to go on the other wing then? Who's going on the right wing?
So, on the right, once again, I'm having to take a few liberties just to get players that I want in there. He doesn't necessarily play there, but he fits there better than my other guys. So, I'm going to put Lanzini out there.
Yeah.
Once again, and this is mainly a chant 11, but they're also players that I like. I mean, there's none of these players that I absolutely detest. Would Lanzini be in my all-time? Probably not. Could he be? Yes. I mean, if he gets back to form. But, since his injury, he's not looked the player that he was for us. I think it's time for you to have a sing-song though, Russ. So.
Yeah. Do you know what? This is I must admit, this is probably my favourite current track in terms of track or such a DJ chant but as you said, because he doesn't get a decent run of games at the moment. He keeps getting injured and stuff, so it doesn't sort of. I think if he had like a good season, this would get back. So obviously it's to Ain't Nobody, if I'm right in the one you're thinking. So ain't nobody like Lanzini. He's so special. Plays the West Ham way. Love it. I think it's so clever.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about with Pete May, who did a similar theme. Who comes up with these chants, right?
Yes.
Because like you turn up one day and someone's singing it, and you're like, is there some WhatsApp group I'm not part of? And it's like literally we need a chant about, I don't know, Antonio or Jarrod Bowen, okay, and they start sort of brainstorming ideas. There must be some sort of way that chants are created. I don't understand.
Well, I know that some of my friends make some up. They have a little section. They used to call it, I think, Chav Corner back in the day.
Oh, Chav, yeah.
And they sometimes come up with some, and every now and then one of them will catch on. Sometimes it's, paying homage to a previous chant from another club. But yeah, quite often you're just like, this is a great chant. Like, how did this happen? Like, when?
And yeah. And also, I think, and something else, and when a player, so we'll come to it, because I think you might pick someone I know. Then we'll just talk about an idea, a thought I had. But anyway, so we'll have Cole on the left, we'll have Lanzini on the right. Who are we going to have in the middles then, Ad?
So the first guy we're going to get, and once again, this is a heart on your sleeve kind of a guy. It's John Moncur. When I first started going to West Ham, he was there. And, he's well known for having a lot of crazy stories. I mean, most players from that time have got a John Moncur story, which obviously in modern times, he became a Christian and now lives a totally different life. But there, when he was on the pitch, his chant was, "He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. It's John Moncur, John Moncur." And then there was also, "Who let the monks out? Who?" Just like fun little chants. And it, I remember my best memory of John Moncur. I don't remember, in the I think it was the Intertoto Cup, or it was a UEFA game. If it was before then, it was an early European game. And I remember he had to be subbed off because the referee booked him for not tucking his shirt in. He refused to tuck his shirt in, and this referee told him he had to. And he's like, I'm not going to do it. Booked him, and they ended up subbing him off because he was, you've got a referee from a country where they don't really have a league, and I don't know what.
Anything could have happened, yeah. I remember him famously pulling down the shorts of a linesman when he was warming up. But he was brilliant, wasn't he? He was brilliant, Johnny. He came on again, similar to what you're saying about sort of Christian Daly and Ginger. He'll come on and he would just effort. And he was a good player as well. He was a good player, I thought. He had a touch on him and he could find a pass, but also he liked to leave a tackle in, didn't he? So, he sort of had this. He was a nutter. And as you said, I think that was probably the last sort of era of having those sort of crazy players. I remember, the end of season sort of lap of appreciations they used to do. And him, and there was like Ruddock and people like that. And they would be almost naked by the time they got to the end, because they were throwing their like boots and their shirts and their trousers and ties, and you don't get that anymore now. You don't get it anymore. It's too correct, but it's a lot more professional now than it was then, arguably. Right,
That's
okay.
True.
Who's going to partner monks in the middle then, Ad? This is great. I'm loving it.
And this is really tough because I've got like a few players that I was really struggling to put in. So I'm going to just give you a couple before I get to my final one.
Yeah.
What I liked, I tried to start up a chant for a player who I absolutely loved when he signed for us, but it didn't catch on. So
was it Jonathan Spector? Was it Jonathan Spector?
I did love Spector, but it wasn't him. It was actually Valon Barami. And I thought we could all chant like at the cricket, Barami on me, Barami on me. Yeah. I tried for a few games. No one else did it. I was like, this is just going to be... Up until this moment, I didn't think it would ever see the light of day. But finally, thanks to you, Russ, finally,
I'm just the giver. I'm just the giver, Ad. That's just what I am.
Unfortunately, he doesn't make it. He doesn't make it to the team because it isn't a real chant, which leaves me, once again, I also then wanted to go Frank Lampard, but his chants that I love are all of the ones abusing him. So I loved Frank Lampard. He was there at the same time as Joe Cole. They used to sing the song that they sung to his old man. But since leaving the club, his chants are a lot more funny. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put him in the 11 because, I always thought he was treated very unfairly by the majority of the supporters. But the chants that we'll do are his, abusive chants. Is that okay?
Yeah, fine, whatever.
Creative difference.
Yeah, love it.
So his chants, so what I will say, it goes a whole load through. So it starts, the whole thing's like, one man couldn't carry Lampard. One man and his forklift truck couldn't carry Lampard. And it goes all the way through. So this is like nearly a 5-minute chant.
Yeah.
It ends up with 10 men couldn't carry Lampard. 10 men, 9 men, 8 men, 7 men, 6 men, 5 men, 4 men, 3 men, 2 men, and his forklift truck couldn't carry Lampard. Big fat Frank, big fat Frank, big fat Frank, big fat Frankie Lampard. So sorry.
And he weren't even fat.
No,
That's the thing.
Both of us are fatter than him. He was never fat.
Oh, I'm being funny. It was like being sung by 20 stone guys, and he was probably, he was a bit, for a footballer when he was young, he was probably a little bit podgy around the face.
Chubby face.
Yeah, but there wasn't an ounce of fat on the man. But anyway, and he'll always be called Fat Frank. Doesn't matter where he goes. For West Ham fans, it's absolutely brilliant. Do you know what? I like that. It's funny. We'll put them in. We'll put Lamps in. All right, so Lamps is in. So midfield, we've got Lanzini, Johnny Monks, we got Big Fat Frank and Joey Cole. Nice. There's a lot. And they play well together, I think, that team. I think Cole and Lanzini would interchange with each other. Monker would just hold that, and Lamps would, bomb forward and get
forwards, take some shots.
Like that
actually would be a good midfield.
Yeah, I like that. Right, okay. Let's go up front then, Ad.
So it's hard because, your other chant 11 stole my strikers. Because ideally, Bobby Zamora's is great. But I'm gonna drop Zamora. I am gonna keep Di Canio though, just because. I mean, Di Canio. If Tony Cottee had a decent chant, he'd be in there, but he doesn't. Di Canio is my favourite player. Yeah. I mean, I remember one time I used to work at the hotel, the Swallow/Marriott Hotel. The West Ham the team would always meet there. Sometimes do a pre-match. And one time I was working and Di Canio wasn't even there. Everyone else having their pre-match meal. He did his own pre-match meal. He shows up, after everyone's eaten, and I walk and I see him in the doorway, and I just froze. I don't even remember what happened next. I'd never been so in awe of a person in my life. But the things that man could do with the ball. And so his two chants. Do you want to do one? You do one of them, and I'll do one. You pick whichever.
Okay, I'll do the Paolo Di Canio, Paolo Di Canio, Paolo Di Canio, Paolo Di Canio. Brilliant.
So and that's his
and that is his that song, as I said, that is that generation. That is the song.
It defines an era.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember before we started singing that we used to sing a different song for him? For a spell, when he first came, we actually used to sing Di Canio. Di Canio, like the little disco song.
Yeah.
So
because that was Sheffield United. That was the Sheffield Wednesday song, and that's what I'm saying. When a player moves, so like Zamora, classic example. When a ball hits the goal, that was his Brighton days, and he's Tottenham. So it's almost like when you move, someone has to come up with a new chant, and I think that's what happened. Di Canio came in, and they did the disco, and then somehow, and that WhatsApp group, we didn't have WhatsApp at that time.
Yeah, whatever happened,
MSN Messenger, whatever it was at the time, or they came together with that one, and that just encapsulated everything about him. Absolutely brilliant. That's my number one fans chant at West Ham was that Di Canio song because it's like
I agree.
Take me back. Right, okay. Who's you going to partner then, Ad?
Do you have any guesses?
Smasiabu.
Good guess, but no, we're going way more modern. Okay. And the reason I go here is because, first of all, it's a really good chant. Second of all, I live here in Texas. And so here, there are a lot of Mexicans. And so when we signed Chicharito, all of a sudden our supporters group grew. Some of them are still there. We often get 30-something people show up at a pub at sometimes 7 o'clock in the morning to watch West Ham play. And it's packed out and we're all singing and it's a really, really great community. It's special. It's one of the things that prevents me from getting homesick. Because we still have it, and honestly, the majority of them are Americans, or not British. So, but yeah, Chicharito's chant is amazing. I haven't sung it for a long time, so let's hope I can remember it. So I'm hoping, and I apologise if I screw this up, but it goes, we got a Chicharito, so much better than Defoe, and the Nacho is our Chicharito. Our little Mexican pace man down at West Ham. Bananas and nanas. Oh, bananas and nanas. He bangs them in. He bangs them in. He bangs them in. Chicharito. Chicharito. There you go.
Brilliant. And that's a great modern sort of, as you said, modern chant, you know, and I think it was a shame. It was a shame we didn't. I think it was a shame we didn't get him like a year earlier, you know, or maybe 18 months earlier, when he was really on fire for Leverkusen. Because I think he
and I think as well, I think part of it is the fact that he was a year older, and, you know, he relied on pace. Also, like, we didn't play to his strengths, which is a very Sam thing to do. You know, let's get a player that's really good in a situation, take them out of that situation, and expect them to continue performing as they did before. You know, we make that mistake with many players, like with Allaire now. But, you know, he got some goals for us, and he will never be remembered as a West Ham legend. But I met him on a plane once, and he was a really, really nice bloke, very, very down to earth. So yeah, that's my 11.
And obviously he's in the MLS, so you know he's over your neck of the woods, so to speak. Well, not neck of the woods. He's in LA, but you know, a few hours.
I get to see him when he comes here. You know, it's always fun for us when you know, when we get like Winston Reid as well coming over here. I'm excited to see that. And I actually, you know, FC Dallas is 10 minutes from me. And I have some good friends who play for FC Dallas. So it's been really interesting to understand how the MLS works and to get to see it from like a different perspective as well. From the eyes of a player who's, you know, going through this. So
yeah, I know what you mean. I think it was last year I spent 6 weeks out in the States, and obviously anytime I used to go out there for work, I used to catch some sport, and I never did the MLS, but I managed. I was around sort of New Jersey way, so I went to see the Red Bulls, nice. and yeah, I blagged myself in. I always, for me, football, if it's a 3 o'clock kickoff, I'm at the ground at 11 o'clock anyway. So I'm used to turning up 4 hours before, and I still did, and was wondering where everyone was, and managed to sort of go in and have a walk round. But yeah, I know what you mean, and you know, it's interesting seeing how different leagues work in terms of the fans, and I mean they were mental. Those fans, those New York Red Bull fans, were absolutely mental.
Really,
but yeah, no, they were good fun. Anyway, okay, so that's your team. We got Greeno, we got Masuaku, Ginger Pele, Christian Daly, Alex Song, and then we got Joey, we got Fat Frank, Monks, Lanzini, PDC, and Chicharito up front. That would do a job.
Yeah,
that would do a job.
Prime, I'd take that team.
Yeah, I think it's a good in their heyday. You know, players in their heyday. Yeah. You know, when we had Alex Song in that first season, you know, he would have, you know, that would have been great. Ad, thank you so much for this. It was really good. Obviously, I can tell you've had a lot of thought about that, and I really appreciate the time.
Oh, my pleasure. I enjoyed it. Brilliant.
I'm glad. And thank you to everyone for listening and watching. Obviously, you know, to share, subscribe, like, whatever you want to do. Watch them all. And until next time, guys, stay safe and take care. Bye-bye.